Tonight, you will go on an immersive journey of a poor man with no money and dreams to becoming the richest man in his town. Maybe dim the lights a bit and be comfortable. This is your journey tonight, and it is filled with many lessons and learnings. You're 23. The world isn't against you. It's just not paying attention. You wake up in a tiny room with paint peeling off the walls like dead skin. The ceiling fan makes more noise than wind, and your pillow has a dip shaped exactly like the weight of your dreams. You stare at the cracked ceiling, wondering how long a human can run on hope alone. Your phone buzzes. It's not a job offer. It's the electricity bill. One more reminder that dreaming doesn't pay rent. Your mother still believes in you, but she started adding, "for now," after every motivational sentence. Your friends talk in currencies you can't afford: promotions, vacations, Friday night sushi. You talk in late payments, side hustles, and prayers that sound like negotiations with the universe. You're trying to build something: a business, a life, a self, but nothing's sticking. You've burned through 3 failed ventures, 1 broken laptop, and all of your confidence. Yesterday, a relative asked you what you do now, and you said, "I'm figuring things out." What you meant was, "I'm drowning but still kicking." You walk down the street in shoes with cracked soles, looking at every neon sign like it's a possible beginning. You try to smile when you pass people who knew you in school. You were supposed to be something by now. You weren't supposed to be this. There's a heaviness in your chest that doesn't go away. It's not sadness. It's delay. You feel like life is stuck buffering. One night, you sit on the rooftop of your building. It's barely 3 stories high, but it feels like the edge of the world. You look up at the sky and whisper, "I'm trying. Can't you see that? I'm really trying." And for the first time in a long time, you don't cry. You just sit there, tired, but not defeated. That night, you make a silent promise. You're not going to quit. You don't know how. You don't know when. But this story will not end here. Not like this. It's a Tuesday, a forgettable one. You've just left another job interview where the man in the press shirt said, "You're talented, but we're looking for more experience." You wanted to ask, "How do I get experience if no one gives me a shot?" But you smiled, thanked him, and left with your backpack slung a little heavier than when you walked in. You wander the streets, not because you have somewhere to go, but because going home feels like admitting defeat. The sun is low, casting long shadows that feel like metaphors for all the days you've spent chasing the light. You stop at a tea stall, not your usual one. This one's older, tucked between a cracked wall and a half-shut hardware store. The sign says, "Chai Aur Chamatkar," tea and miracles. You scoff under your breath. Right. But you order anyway. As you wait, an old man sitting on a plastic stool next to you chuckles. "Long day?" he asks. You nod. He sips his tea, smacks his lips, and says, "Funny thing about long days. They usually mean you're walking towards something big." You don't answer. He continues anyway, like he's telling a story just for the air between you. "I had a long day once. My business went bankrupt. Wife left. Friends vanished. I had exactly 23 rupees and a thermos of cold tea. I sat at a railway station and thought maybe the world would be better off without me." You glance at him now. He smiles, not bitterly, but like he made peace with something long ago. "Then a boy sat next to me, asked for directions, and thanked me like I'd saved his life. Said he was on his way to start a new job, his first one. That small interaction, somehow it changed something. I realized if I could still help someone feel seen, maybe I hadn't lost everything. You're quiet for a moment. Then you ask, "What do you do now?" He shrugs. "I sell tea and miracles. Some days just tea, but I still show up." He stands, finishes his cup, and says, "You look like you're carrying a dream too big for your own back." That's good. Dreams should weigh something. Then he walks away. You never get his name. But the sign, Tea and Miracles, stays burned in your memory for years. And that night, you write in your notebook, "I don't need a sign from the universe. I just need to keep showing up, even on the days when all I can sell is tea." That was the day you decided to stay in the game, to stay in your lane, to stay you, even when the world wasn't clapping yet, still unknown, still unfinished, but no longer empty. You found a rhythm, even if it's not paying the bills. You wake up every morning, write down 3 things. One idea, one fear, one reason to keep going. Your notebook is filling up, not with business plans, but possibility. You've started a small side hustle, designing minimalist logos for local vendors. 50 rupees here, 100 there. Sometimes free, just to keep the dream alive. Your friends call it a phase. Your relatives call it wasting time. One even says, "You have so much potential. Why don't you just get a real job?" You nod politely. But inside you want to scream, "This is real. My dreams are real. They may not pay yet, but they are louder than your opinions." One day, you walk into a small stationery store with exactly $15 in your pocket. You buy a bundle of brown paper, some twine, and a pack of handwritten thank you stickers. You start packaging your designs like gifts, even when the client is paying $7. People start noticing. Not because you're the best designer, but because you care. You realize something that day. People don't pay for the product. They pay for the feeling. So you lean in harder. You start writing tiny notes with every delivery. Your dream deserves a logo that lasts. Built with love and 2 cups of tea. Thank you for letting me create with you. Clients smile. Some post about it. One bakery owner refers you to 3 others. You make $80 in one day. You buy your mother flowers for the first time in years. She cries. That night, lying on your thin mattress, your mind quiet but awake, you think, maybe I'm not selling designs. Maybe I'm just selling belief, wrapped in brown paper. It starts with a single missed payment. Just $78. Your internet bill. But in a world where your entire hustle depends on being connected, $78 feels like the wall between survival and surrender. You think, it's fine. I'll cover it with the next client. But that client ghosts you. Then another asks for a refund because they changed their mind. You have $9.72 left in your account. The kind of number that mocks you. You boil rice. Again. No spices left. You stretch it over 3 meals, sprinkle salt like it's luxury. You haven't told your mother. You tell her you're just trying a new diet. You're not starving, but your dream is. On the 4th night, your laptop won't start. You stare at the black screen like it's a coffin. That's when it happens. The doubt creeps in like a thief. Maybe this is stupid. Maybe they were right. Maybe I'm just wasting time. You close the lid and lie down. Not because you're tired, but because fighting your thoughts is exhausting. The next day, you walk to a small public library just to use the Wi-Fi. You sit in the corner, open your dusty notebook, and start sketching again. Not for clients, for yourself. Just to remember what joy feels like. That's when you hear her voice. You're the guy who made the logo for Bella's Bakery, right? You look up. A girl with round glasses and messy hair is pointing at your screen. You nod. My sister loved your design, she says. I'm Sam. I run a local art community. We're looking for someone to help with a rebrand. You don't want to seem desperate, so you smile like this is just another Tuesday. She hands you her number and says, You've got something. I can tell. Don't let the silence trick you into forgetting that. You don't realize until hours later that you're crying in the library bathroom. Because her words weren't just kind, they were a lifeline. You do the job for Sam, and she pays you $200 in cash. Before you even finish, you fix the internet, you fix your laptop, you fix your posture. But most importantly, you start fixing your belief in yourself. You write in your notebook that night. Sometimes courage isn't something you build. Sometimes it's something someone lends you for a while until you're strong enough to return it. You're 25 now. You've built a small portfolio, still modest but filled with soul. You've stopped undercharging, even if it means fewer clients. You're choosing depth over volume. It feels right. But you're still invisible to the world at large. You work out of a corner cafe most days, a place with bad coffee and good light. They let you stay as long as you order one drink every few hours. The staff know your name. The barista Jay even gives you a free muffin sometimes and winks like it's a secret mission. That cafe is your safe zone, your office, your sketch pad, your sanctuary. One Monday you sit near the window with a blank page and a worn-out pen. You're working on a logo for a local eco-startup, but nothing's clicking, so you pause. You flip to a clean page and start sketching something just for fun. A wild idea that's been in your head for weeks. An app, a tool, a simple platform that helps small creators package and present their talents like professionals, complete with branding, portfolios, pricing templates. You draw a screen, then buttons, then flow. No business plan, just instinct. You don't know it yet, but you're sketching your future. Then the rain hits, not polite drizzle, not poetic mist, a full-on storm. The sky goes black, the power flickers, half the cafe empties. But you stay, because something in you has switched on. Your hands move without your permission. Sketch, erase, sketch again. You aren't thinking, you're downloading. Jay walks by and says, "Man, you're in the zone." You don't even look up. You just nod. You work for 6 straight hours. When the storm finally ends, the page in front of you is full. Rough, ugly, beautiful. You've mapped out something bigger than anything you've done before. You take a photo, save the sketch, name the folder, Project Spark. You go home soaked to the bone, your shoes squelching, your clothes clinging to your skin. And for the first time in years, you feel completely alive. That night you write, "Some storms come to wash things away. Others come to wake you up." You go to sleep knowing nothing has changed, but feeling like everything has. You're 26, and everybody seems to be doing better than you. Your feed is a graveyard of self-esteem. One friend just got married in Italy. Another launched a clothing brand and hit 6 figures. Someone you barely remember from high school is now posting daily gym selfies and TEDx clips with captions like impact over income. You're still debugging the first version of your app, still eating toast for dinner 3 nights a week, still pretending not to hear the quiet worry in your mother's voice when she asks, "So, how's work?" You hit your lowest point in March, not because of tragedy, but because of comparison. It's the kind of pain that doesn't scream, it just dulls you. Every win by someone else feels like a reminder that you're still catching up. You start asking dangerous questions. Is this all going to lead somewhere? Did I miss my shot? Am I too late? One night, while procrastinating, you watch a video of a man giving a speech to a crowd of college kids. He says something that lodges itself into your brain like a splinter. Don't confuse speed with timing. Some seeds grow in a week. Some take 7 years. Both become trees. You pause the video. Replay that line 3 times. Write it on your wall. Don't confuse speed with timing. You start moving again. But this time, more intentionally. Instead of rushing to launch Project Spark, you spend 6 weeks just talking to people. Creators, freelancers, hobbyists. You ask them what they struggle with, what they wish existed, what hurts about being unknown. You get real answers. You take real notes. You change your entire design. And in doing so, you learn something that changes your psychology. When you stop building to be impressive and start building to be useful, people begin to care. By the end of the year, your wait list has 400 names, all from word of mouth, no ads, no funding, just sweat, feedback, and a folder named Project Spark that now feels more like destiny than a prototype. You may be 26, but you're right on time. You meet her at a tech event. Her laugh finds you before her name does. She's brilliant, beautiful, sharp, confident. The kind of person who speaks like every word is rehearsed by the universe. She asks what you do, and you stumble through an answer. She doesn't blink. She just says, "That sounds big." You smile. For the next 4 months, she's everywhere. Coffee meetings turn into late-night calls. Sketch sessions turn into shoulder brushes. You talk about dreams, fears, timelines. She says she believes in you, says you remind her of fire. You believe her. She introduces you to a few investors. One takes interest. Your app is finally getting noticed. Things are rising. Fast. Too fast. Then the cracks appear. Late replies, canceled meetings, weird silence in her voice when you share your wins. You convince yourself it's stress, life, timing. Until one day an investor calls and says, "We've decided to go with the version her team pitched." Her team, your idea, your model, slightly rebranded, wrapped in better colors and fancier decks. You freeze, no NDA, no paper trail, just conversations and misplaced trust. And just like that, your future is gone. Not the dream, but the first version of it. You try to confront her. She says, "It's just business." You break. Not loudly, not all at once. You just go quiet. You stop posting, stop calling, stop opening your laptop. You think, what's the point if people can just take what you built? You consider quitting again. But this time it hurts deeper, because this time you were close. You disappear for a while. Move back to your old room. Help your mom cook. Go on long walks. Say no to emails. You rest. But not the kind of rest that feels good. The kind of rest that feels like surrender. And then comes him. Not a friend. Not a mentor. Just an acquaintance from that old cafe. He texts one day, "Hey, Heard what happened. It sucks. Want to grab tea? You go. He listens, really listens. Then he says, she didn't steal your dream. She just gave you the blessing of version 1 crashing. So you could build something that no one can steal. You look at him. He shrugs. Look, if your idea was stealable, it wasn't deep enough yet. That night, something stirs in you. Not anger, not revenge, just clarity. You write, they took the first sketch, but they can't take my hands. 6 weeks later, you open a new folder. You call it Project Spark 2.0. But this time, it's not just a tool. It's a movement. A safe space for creators to build their own portfolios, pricing models, negotiation scripts, and even match with clients who value independent voices. You design it like armor for people like you. And in doing so, you begin to build yourself again. You're 28. And it finally happens. You launch Project Spark 2.0. Within a month, 1,200 users sign up. By month 3, you're hitting $15,000 in revenue. By the end of the year, you've crossed $100,000. People are calling you a young founder. Podcasts want your story. Investors are DMing you now. You hire 2 part-timers, rent a small office, buy a standing desk and a second monitor. You even upgrade your wardrobe. Nothing flashy, just enough to feel like you belong at tables you once only watched from afar. You fly to your first tech conference out of state. On the flight, you whisper to yourself, I did it. But as the applause grows louder, something inside you gets quieter. Success isn't what you imagined. You thought it would feel like fireworks, like freedom. Instead, it feels like pressure. Now every update needs to impress. Every client needs to be delighted. Every decision feels like it could collapse the whole thing. You start sleeping less, smiling less. You haven't touched your sketchbook in 6 weeks. Your notebook, the one you used to write in every night, is gathering dust under the desk. Then one night at 2:17 a.m., while debugging a payment flow that broke during an update, your body gives up. You get dizzy, you fall forward, hit your forehead on the corner of your desk. You wake up on the floor, cheek pressed against cold tile. Your heart is racing, your inbox is overflowing, your mind is screaming, and for the first time in years you say out loud, I'm not okay. The next day, you cancel everything. You message your team and say, we're taking a week off, fully, paid, no laptops. You get on a bus and go home. No laptop, no pitch deck, just a backpack. Your mother opens the door, sees your face, and doesn't ask anything. She just hugs you. And that night, while lying on the old bed that still squeaks in the same place, you find your breath again. You open the notebook, and you write, success isn't freedom if you're chained to expectation. I don't want to build something impressive. I want to build something that lets me live. You don't quit. You return the next week, but slower, smarter, softer. You bring back your sketching time. You add quiet hours to your calendar. You install a sign above your office door that says, don't build a prison with the bricks they call praise. And in that, you find real peace. You're 29, and for the first time, you're not climbing anymore. You're building. The app is stable. The revenue flows. People are using your platform not just to create, but to believe again. You launch a mentorship program called The Mirror Room, a weekly Zoom session where young, confused dreamers show up and ask you questions like, How do I stay motivated? What if my parents don't believe in me? What if I don't believe in me? You answer them honestly, not like a guru, like a friend who remembers what it felt like to eat toast for dinner and cry in silence. One day a boy joins the session. His camera is off. His voice is quiet, but his words land hard. Everyone around me keeps succeeding. I feel like I'm late to life. You pause, because you know that feeling. You take a breath and say, you're not late. You're just building something that takes longer to grow. Fast trees fall in the first storm. Deep roots take time. The chat floods with hearts. That day you realize, you're no longer just the student. You're the teacher now. You keep the program free. People tell you to charge, to monetize your influence, to add coaching tiers and VIP packages. But you don't, because you remember the man at the tea stall, the girl who gave you $200 when you had nothing, the guy who told you she didn't steal your dream. You are those people now, for others, and you write in your notebook, we are all mirrors. We break, we reflect, and when polished with enough kindness, we help others see themselves. That same year you get a letter, an actual handwritten one. It's from a girl in Idaho who used your app to start a freelance animation career. She says she went from suicidal thoughts to building a team of 5, and calls Project Spark her first matchstick. You cry for the first time in a long time. Not because you're sad, but because it finally makes sense. It wasn't about being rich. It was about being a light. As 29th nears its end, you take a solo trip to the mountains. No Wi-Fi, no laptop, just you, a backpack, and your old notebook. On a rock overlooking a valley, you sit still for hours, and then you write, this is the last page of my becoming. I've spent 7 years chasing, building, failing, rising. And now I am ready to arrive. You close the notebook, and for once, there is no plan, just peace. You wake up on your 30th birthday, not to confetti, not to a parade, just to the quiet hum of the morning sun creeping through the window of a house you never thought you'd afford. You make coffee. Black. Simple. You no longer need sugar to soften the taste of hard days. You walk barefoot through the home you built, not just with money, but with meaning. Every piece of furniture was chosen slowly, every photo framed with intention. Every corner tells a story. You are not rich because of your bank account, though it's doing very, very well. You are rich because you have your time back, you have your voice, you have your peace. Later that day, you get dressed in the simplest outfit, jeans, a clean shirt, and your favorite worn-out sneakers, the same ones you almost threw away at 24. You walk through your old neighborhood, the one where people once whispered, he's wasting his life. They smile at you now, some with pride, some with disbelief, some with regret. You smile back with nothing to prove. At noon, you arrive at a community center, but today, it's different. A new sign hangs above the door. The Spark House, your foundation's first official HQ. Inside, dozens of young creators are buzzing. Designers, musicians, writers, coders, kids who remind you of you. You walk into the main hall. There's a large whiteboard. Someone hands you a marker. You write 2 words at the top. Start ugly. The room cheers. Not because the words are clever, but because they're true. You built your life on ugly starts, on imperfect plans, on messy drafts and crumpled notebooks. And now, you're proof that it works. At the event, Your mother speaks. She says, "He was never trying to be rich. He was just trying to give something to the world, and the world finally gave back." You hug her, and the crowd claps louder than any boardroom you've ever been in. That night, you sit on your rooftop again, just like when you were 23. But this time, you're not whispering to the sky. You're whispering to your younger self. You made it. Not because you had all the answers, but because you kept showing up. You open your final notebook. You write the last entry. I am the richest man in town. Not because of what I have, but because of who I've become. And if anyone asks where to start, I'll hand them a pen and say, right here. And somewhere, in a small cafe on a rainy afternoon, a young kid sits sketching on a napkin, and your story, it begins again, in someone else's hands, in someone else's fire,